My name is Samantha Jones, and this is my action research project, Student Choice and Academic Outcomes. The area of focus of this action research project is to focus on student choice and assessment. The study is grounded in the UDL philosophy and focuses on the impact of students taking control of their learning by selecting their assessment structure. The study will research the way choice impacts the student's autonomy, motivation, engagement, assessment scores, and any other feedback that supports a universal design for learning. For any of you that are not aware of the universal design for learning, there are three pillars: representation, engagement, and expression. And this study is going to focus on expression in specific and try to tie in choice as the multiple means. So the significance of this study. The study will add to the body of research for universal design for learning. It will expand on the impact of direct student involvement, specifically with choice implementation with regards to representation, engagement, and expression. So essentially what I just said, it's expression and it's focused on how to increase multiple means for students. In my proposal, I'm going to talk about how it affects or UDL supports inclusion. It also supports students of all learners. We focus a lot on multiple means for representation and engagement, but we don't always consider expression as another avenue. So if this is successful, this study will be useful for teachers, students, parents, and admin, of course. If this study concludes valid data to support student choice within an elementary setting, it could change the method of engagement and expression with overall support for representation. This would be useful for teachers' planning, student autonomy and motivation, parent enthusiasm for students' achievement, and administration's insight to future PLC agendas and overall methods. So it would talk about, it would support teacher and their pedagogy. It would support students' overall motivation and creativity in the classroom, which is of course what we always want. And obviously you support the participants in this study, and the parents would have to be on board. But if the study is conclusive, it could further parent relations, and it would also help admins' motivation to get involved with peer learning communities. So my research question is, how does choice in student assessment impact academic outcomes? There's a variety of academic outcomes that choice can affect. It can affect the assessment data. It can affect students' autonomy, motivation, confidence, interest in the content, and all of this will be measured with this study. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of review, or there's not a whole lot of research at the elementary level, but in regards to student choice, there is a ton at the college level. But I first started out looking at the Universal Design for Learning platform and how it supports a conducive classroom environment. So my first one is based on neuroscience and the role of affect in learning environments. The UDL philosophy rests upon three tenets: providing multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of action with an expression of material. So again, this study though is going to focus primarily on the expression aspect. UDL is seated among such theories and practices, applied in hopes of providing efficient, meaningful education to all learners. So again, we focus a lot on representation and engagement, but we don't always focus on the expression. So this study is to help us find multiple means for expression as well. The second point is that assessment is shifting towards a student-directed mindset. So you'll see a lot in schools that learner-led is starting to take hold, but there's not a lot of research yet to back it. So this is a more formal study of student-led classrooms. There's been support within literature to make changes to assessment practices in higher education and to increase flexibility and give learners more control over the assessment process. A recent study in 2020 discovered that many informal multimodal assessments endeavored to give a more complete picture of children as literate beings. So again, it's multi-modality. It's trying to get a whole picture of the student rather than just a universal assessment. Student choice is showing positive trends in motivation and creativity. So we're proposing a group of psychologists proposed highlighting agency as interconnected construct, which includes self-perception as readers and writers, intentionality, choice-making, persistence, and interactiveness. So the method of this study is that it will be an action research study that collects quantitative and qualitative data focused on the impact of student choice. The subjects will be selected by randomized placement in a lower grade elementary general education classroom. The subjects will be part of San Diego Unified, a large and diverse district in Southern California. This selection will provide a varied participant assortment in gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic background. So as you can see below, the data collection is going to be quantitative, which will be my assessment scores, such as the pre-assessment, which is the baseline, the checks throughout, which will be featured a lot in exit tickets, the post, which will be the baseline universal assessment, and then the choice assessment that students will take part in. They will also take part in a survey, which will be also a rating system, which they will complete at the beginning and at the end of the unit. The qualitative will be open-ended interview questions and also a survey, which will again be pre and post. And in addition, there will be observation throughout the entire study. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of words on this page, but essentially the analysis of the data will take place in measuring individuals, both their assessment data, so their scores for both baseline, mid, and also final, so their final assessment, universal, and their choice. This will take part in a 2 to 3 week unit. The first 2 weeks will be where like the pre and the mid and the universal assessment will take place, and then so that will be the content, and then the third week will be where the students will have an opportunity to complete their choice assessment, their post surveys, and also their interview with me. The researcher, which will be me, will collect the post autonomy and motivation surveys, and I will analyze all of the assessments, and the assessments will be measured on an individual and also with a group basis. I'll go further into that in my proposal, but there's lots of data points throughout all of the data that I'm collecting that can be measured across to see trends. It can also be measured to see like the mean, the median, the mode. There's a whole bunch of data that will be in my proposal. The ethical considerations, of course, you want the participant to feel justified, to feel heard. There will be a conversation with both the participant and their parent. I'm going to make sure there's open communication. The participants will be made aware that their highest post score will be one that will be recorded and that there's no risks in points or grade change. The students will be informed that they will have provided time and materials to complete the additional assessment. So I don't want them stressed about not having materials or time to complete. The students will be directed to converse with the researcher, me, about their concerns or needs throughout the study, which I will adhere to. The limitations of the study are that there is a lack of prior research within an elementary setting for data comparison, and another limitation of the study will be that the participants might not feel as though they are practiced enough in autonomy. So as they're younger elementary age, they haven't been given the freedom to necessarily explore their creativity or to set their demands. And that's something that I will be working with them, but it might not take hold for the study. Thank you.